Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Max, Chief Evangelist over here at Hapily. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use Event Hapily in order to be able to manage capacity for event registrations inside of HubSpot. Now, what this all comes down to is we noticed there was a lot of people asking, hey, is there any way that we can disable a form in HubSpot after a certain amount of submissions happen? 900 out of 900 times, it is usually because people are using HubSpot forms for event registration. And what they're trying to do in those scenarios is cap the capacity of that event so too many people don't sign up for it. So with Event Hapily, we actually built a feature that does this natively and just makes it work. Okay, so let me show you how this works. I am in HubSpot. I'm on my event record for my event, the event of the century. Okay. What you'll notice for event records and session records is there are properties on them called registrant limit. If you just set this to nothing and you just leave it blank, you'll be able to have an unlimited amount of people sign up for the actual event. But if you're in a scenario where you want to limit registration, what you would do is you would come in here and put the maximum amount of registrants you'd want to have for the event. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one to 10. You can see my event already has a registrant here. All right. Something to keep in mind is that we won't ever stop you from manually adding registrants to an event. You can do that if you ever need to override it. That's totally fine. What this registrant limit property is used for, it's used to block our CMS modules that run our forms for registration forms from allowing additional people to register through a form on your HubSpot CMS website, okay? And it will actually disable it when there are more registrants than there are slots allowed for registrants in that registrant limit field. So let me demonstrate how this is working. So I'm on this event right now. I'm going to go take a look at the registrant page, okay? So here's the registrant page. Here is the actual page itself inside of the design manager. The whole thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it so that if there are more registrants than what are allowed, I don't want to be able to let someone fill this form out again. What I'm going to do to enable this is I'm going to come back to the CMS editor. I'm going to click on the form right here. And then on the left-hand side, we can see all the different options for this Hapily event registration form module, okay, which is pulling in one of our HubSpot forms. I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom here to this section that says when maximum capacity is reached. And I'm going to choose one of these options, right? I can either display a form to act as like a waitlist form. So in this case, instead of filling out my actual like registration form, it's going to swap it with a separate form that you can then use to put somebody on a list or whatever you want to do. What we're going to do to make it a little easier is we're just going to do a custom message. All right. And a custom message will basically give you this rich text module that you can place a message in that will tell the person, hey, this event is at full capacity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply these changes. All right. And we're going to go test it out. Okay. So if I were to come back over here and reload my page, I'll see that since we have at least 9 slots left here, right? Because the registrant limit is set to 10 and there's only one registrant. This is still working properly. What I'm going to do here though, is I'm going to simulate a bunch of people registering and it going over the limit simply by changing the registrant limit down to 1. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and change this down to 1. And now since our capacity is technically full, this should not work when I go back. So I'm here, I'm refreshing and hitting the page. And boom, there we go. We get hit with this event is at full capacity. And you can change around the styling. You can do whatever you want. It's like an ugly version that I did right here. But what'll happen is when people hit this registration page and the event's already full, they won't be able to fill the form out and you can communicate to them that the registration is at full capacity. That's how easy it is to do this with Event Hapily. Keep in mind, this also works for session records of individual sessions for events too as well. So sessions can have their own registration limit. And again, if you don't want to set any limit, you just don't put a value inside of that registrant limit field. And it will basically just say, oh, okay, I'm not supposed to do anything in terms of limiting registrants in this situation. Anyway, hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions on how to better manage registration limits within your events inside of HubSpot, feel free to let us know in the comments section below and have an amazing day.